What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. Today we have What If Issei Went Rogue Part 2. If at all possible, could we hit 1,000 likes for this episode? That'd be absolutely amazing. If you guys want to know exactly when I upload, such my upload schedule, of course, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button or the first link down in the description below to become a limit breaker or a balance breaker or an ultra instinct member. Thank you so much to all those people who came out. So before I start the episode, I wanted to ask a question. If I dropped merch, would you guys buy it? It might just be like a Christmas thing, if you know what I'm saying. Like that would be pretty cool. I also plan on streaming this Christmas. If you guys want me to stream tomorrow, or my bad, if you guys want me to stream Christmas Eve the 24th, just let me know down in the comment section down below. I'd be completely okay with that. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the story so far. It's been super duper fun read, and I'm not gonna lie so far. And you guys are definitely gonna have some fun with this next part. So without further ado, go subscribe to my second channel, and Papowski, and Fallen DxD down in the description below. And without further ado, go thank my balance breakers: Rob the King, Lachlan Yates, Jordan Patchow, Aunt Lewis, Night Ammo, Refeek135, Asimodus, Slow, The Black Dragon Emperor, Keep Saying 21, Louis Bermudez, $5, Sake, VR Watch Tag through 347, Night Ammo, Ziki 2000, Seth Voiles, The PS_Gamer, XRX108, Legendary, Saiyan98, Mazaku, Dr_MLG_ is the bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, That Round Guy, Zero Fusion, Source Spawner, Chaotic Raven, and the J-Boys. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into part 2. Picking up at chapter 3. Do I have to, milady? You don't have to tell me, but I might tell Issei about your little secret, Lady Death said. No, please do not, Drake said. Shush, don't be so loud, you'll wake Issei up. It's your fault. Fine, I will tell you, milady. When I first reached my juvenile stage, I kept challenging every dragon I met, until I met Albion. He took interest in me and wanted to make me his mate, but I don't like him, so we fought, but we ended up in a draw. But he won't stop bothering me over and over again, even after I kept telling him to stop bothering me and keep following me around like some loyal dog. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. Then I set up an act by changing my gender with the help of the Ouroboros dragon. Then I confronted Albion by telling him that her, female Drake's, true mate, when I thought he's gonna stop bothering me, he started challenging me in my male form because he thought that I stole her from, hence the rivalry between us. At first, I'm pissed off, but then I started enjoying fighting him, because I got too strong for the most of the dragons, and only him can keep up with my strength, and Albion himself eventually forgot about my female form and kept fighting me just for the same reason as me. So I forgot to change my gender back after all this time, and the fact the Ouroboros dragon doesn't really care about anything but her silence also isn't helping you. Can you laugh at me, milady? If Issei isn't sleeping right now, I would have actually laughed out loud. If everyone knows the reason for the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor's rivalry is because of some love drama, they might die laughing. Lady Death says. Drake is so embarrassed, and if anyone can see it by his face, by now it would be redder than his own red scales. But I can tell you took a liking for Issei yourself, don't you, Drake? Or should I use your real name, Irini? Just call me by Drake in front of him for now, please, milady. Fine. But you must tell me how you fell for Issei yourself. Don't try to lie to me, because I could tell by the color of your soul that it attached itself to Issei's soul. If you die, you will truly die along with him. At first, I only thought of him as a pervert. More perverted than most, actually. Heck, his biggest dream is to become harem king, for God's sake. But I spent more time with him and I got to know him better and better. He didn't treat me like some tools and treated me like a friend and a partner. Then I saw his act of selflessness for his friends and his beloved. He doesn't hesitate to throw his life on the line if it meant to protect the people he loves. He's the only host of mine who doesn't get lost in the search for power. And before I even know it, I started to become attracted to his very being and beliefs. Okay, guys, please try to remember that Drake is apparently a woman. In time, I found his supposed-to-be loved ones betrayed him and left his own self's luck. I've never felt so much rage and feels deep hatred at someone. Even more rage than the God of the Bible sealed my soul. And that's also made me realize how deep value I felt for the man Issei Hyodo. Sadly, I can only give him mental support, but not the warmth he needed, because all that's left of me is my soul. I see. So, You have done the soul link with him to change him into a dragon himself at the cost of your own soul. No wonder he was already awakened by his aura to being a hatchling. But now I look into this essence, he's not a pure dragon, and I can see he used to be a devil and a human even before that. No wonder he could possess the boosted gear, even though he's mostly dragon now. Indeed, milady. If I told him the price for this transformation, knowing him, he will reject it without hesitation and rather die alone rather than die with him. Foolish. But that's what made me fell for him, and I don't regret a single thing I have done knowing that I can accompany him till the last day of his life. Is that so? We could be sisters in the future, Drake. What do you mean, milady? Oh, you know exactly what I mean, dear Irene. You said it yourself. His biggest dream is to become harem king, no? I find it interesting. If his dream is world peace, that he won't be a man I fell for. Now won't he? Ever since the olden days, every great man of his harem has his own, and I shall make it a true for him. For my newfound beloved, if he so wishes to kill everyone that betrayed him, I shall kill them and trap their soul in limbo, never to be reincarnated, only know darkness for eternity. Ha! No fury like a woman scorned, and besides... Form, what you told me, he's not the type who will forget the old favor, the new one, is he? Indeed, he's the man who doesn't differentiate his love between his lovers. Whether they are old or new ones, even Orpheus feels attracted to him, the one who's only interested in the silent of nothingness. Heck, she even changed her gender to be a true woman just for the meaning she can't change his gender anymore for all eternity. The Ouroboros dragon did. Indeed, Issei is one of a kind. How foolish of those that they abandon him. And I dear meant what I said. I could make you a new body if you wishes for it. And I could have him ask for a payment, but considering you already bound soul with Issei, that shall be a payment for it. Do you want to be alive again? Do you mean it, my lady? I said don't be so loud. And yes, I do mean every word I said if it wishes so. Then I shall give you my thanks in advance, milady. Partner, at last we can be truly together in body and soul, and we shall show those sluts how wrong their choices are. Drake couldn't help but feel excited now that she knows her true dreams will come true. The world of the Red Dragon Empress, Irina Belzerki. No, Irina Hyodo Belzerki, I shall accompany you in sickness and health, if you so decided, when to the gates of hell itself, pardon. No, I shall call you my mate from later on. Oh, I can't wait to see his reaction when he finds out about it. It will take some time. Later we will inform Issei about it, but leave the part where you actually are a female, because I believe you want to tell him about it yourself. No, later I will separate you from Issei, but don't worry, he won't die because I will set up a seal, so only your soul is separated temporarily from the boosted gear, so I can reform your new body. The only downside is that he won't be able to use the boosted gear power for some time during the separation, and I will train him so that he won't be weak without it. I know exactly what needed to be done before his training, so rest assured. Then I will leave this arrangement in your hands, milady, and thank you once more for everything, Drake says. Oh, don't call me milady anymore. We're sisters. Drake blushed deeply, more, and she could still manage to mutter her response even though it's barely heard by LD. Thank you, sister. It's really hard doing the Drake voice right now. It feels really awkward. You're welcome, but I really have to say, he really is cute when he's asleep, don't you think? She poked his cheeks and became dazed because of how soft his cheeks are. I couldn't agree more, Drake chuckled. But sister, don't you have a name other than your current one? My old name, huh? Well, I've forgotten my true name after all this time, and I hate the name anyway because it reminds me of the betrayal. So I might ask Issei to give me one later. Yeah, that's a good idea. A given name by my dearest beloved. Then she goes back to playing with her newfound beloved's face, and softly because she didn't want to wake him up. If you say so. After a while, Issei's eyes started twitching, then he opened his eyes slowly because he couldn't help but wonder what's the soft feeling he felt on his face. Whew, where am I? And what's the soft things I felt on my face? He started to move around and brought his hand to touch it. Wait, isn't this texture? He remembered the texture of somewhat familiar because he often felt them during his old days, and reminded how he fell asleep in the first place just to confirm his guess when he had a sultry, sweet, melodious voice near his ear. Oh, so you're awake, brave Issei. Not that I mind if you want to. Anyway, so you want to go all the way? Lady Death whispered, and she blew some hot air on one of Issei's ears. Issei got up with a start of a blush, then jumped back right away, and saw a scenery that makes his eyes went wide and almost a nosebleed. Lady Death, in her birthday suit and her private parts are barely covered by some of her hairs that leave a little for imagination, and Issei can see a beautiful red cherry ready to be plucked on top of her heavenly mountains. The calmly eyes she gave him, the red lips that she looked shiny and luscious after she gave it a lick, and her small tinge of blush on her face that makes her beautiful face even more memorizing. And you can see the outline of her butt under the curvy waist that doesn't have a single bit of excess fat. If anything, it looks firm and enchanting. Now that's the face I wanted to see. Oh, and he is very well endowed himself down there. Lady Death couldn't help but lick her lips after she saw he got packing under his pants. If it's the old him, he might already have a nosebleed and start drooling, but now he shakes his head out of his thoughts and tries to cover his little brow, who started to awake out of his slumber by turning his body. I'm sorry for the blunder of mine by falling asleep on the top of you, and I hope you can forget about things that happened so far, Issei said. Oh, how cruel of you for not taking responsibility after what you've done to my body. Lady Death continued to tease him and fake her tears, but Issei isn't buying it, and only a blush a little bit. We both know nothing happened, and you know what I meant, Issei said. Pfft, fine, we shall leave it for that for now. She smirked at the last part, but Issei didn't see it because he turned away his sight so he won't make a fool out of himself even more than he is now. Lady Death summoned her dress, wore them once more to call Issei to talk about their plans. Issei, we have to talk about something. And that is the end of Chapter 3. Chapter 4. What is it? Issei says. Issei finally turned around after she called him, and glad she really already wore her clothes once more because she still can't help letting his libido run amok after what he saw just now, and the fact that a dragon attracted to those or even stronger than them doesn't help at all considering he just recently changed and he still can't control his dragonite desires for the better. Well, you see, Lady Death says, after a while, Lady Death finished telling him that she can release and revive Drake from the boosted gear, and asked him if he's willing to do so. Even though she knows what his answer will be, she has to confirm it, so there would be no misunderstanding what happened between them. And his answer, just as she expected, but she became even more surprised when she saw what he heard, and when she can release and revive Drake from the boosted gear. Really? Please, I will do anything if you can release Drake. No matter what you ask me to do, I will do it as long as it doesn't go against my principles, he says. He bowed down at 90 degrees, even with the dragon pride forcing him not to do so. He still goes against his pride to beg for his trusted partner's freedom without a single hesitation because he owes Drake's that too much already after all this time. He added the words at the end just in case, added him to kill the innocents or something evil like that. Because even if he changed most of his attitudes after the transformation, in the end, he's still what he used to be, kind and selfless, even if it's toned down by now. He won't hesitate to kill his enemies like he used to, but he won't ever kill the innocent bystanders. He despises even the thought of killing them. Oh, you won't regret it if you lose the boosted gear, and you might die, you know. Lady Death couldn't help but ask him that, because he doesn't hesitate in the slightest when she asked her question, and she even more mind blown where even her mind was blown hearing his second answer to her second question. Why should I? He's the best friend and partner I could have asked for. He already helped me so much while I do all this is bring shame to the name of the Red Dragon Emperor by earning the title of the Opie Dragon, and even bring me back when I almost succumbed to my despair of being betrayed by people I loved. Considering, after what he's done for me so far, my life is pretty cheap price to pay. Even if you ask me to die right now, just save him. I won't even blink and end myself right now. Issei said all of that with even a shred of hesitation, and the look of his eyes and conviction of his voice coupled with how it was now, the world hands to face its fatality for both women. It made both women who heard and saw this become absent-minded and blush deeply and couldn't help but fall in love with him all over again. Drake, tearing him to say, become speechless but ecstatic because the man she chose as her mate doesn't hesitate to do all that just for her. She even shed tears in the boosted gear and become choked with emotion, but she had to pretend like she didn't hear all that and faking she's asleep right now. But Lady Death have it much worse because she can feel his kingly aura going full throttle. the aura of the dragon king of domination to be. She felt her heart thumping and madly feel like it's about to burst out of her chest, and her body is faintly shivering because she's holding herself back from just pouncing the man in front of her, and have her way with him in a reckless abandon, so she's also drooling a bit. And if Issei paid attention to her more, he would realize there's something wet going down there in between her legs, and the edge of her lips, there's a bit of drool flowing out. But because he's looking straight at her into her eyes, expressed that he's deadly serious, so he won't realize it, which is good. She might just do she's holding back from out of shame, and we'll add another black history of him being dominated once more from the same woman twice. But this time, it'll be even more shameful because he will lose his virginity from being reversed raped. After a while, she tried to get herself together by taking deep breaths, wipe her jewels by faking a cough, but even when she's shivering a little bit because she's still wet down there, don't worry, I won't ask you to go against your principle. All I ask is that you give me a chance to let me get to know you better, hoping you will tell me what happened to you and share me with, considering we are both been betrayed by people we once loved. But don't worry, I will still set Drake free regardless if you want to tell me or not. She almost let it slip, making Dre almost scream out loud just because of the tension she's getting. Issei couldn't help but ask, but why? Even though he could tell that his woman somehow have feelings for him, he has to make sure so there won't be any more tragedy befell him, lest it's going to be another drama involved, which honestly, he can't take another one, considering he's already been through this shit 2 times, first Reinair, second Rias, etc. Lady Death just put on a smile from the bottom of her heart and looked into his eyes like he did just told him, because I've come to know that I have fell in love with you. Lady Death said. This time, Issei turned to become absent-minded, and somehow he can tell that this woman in front of him really does feel that way, unless she's even better actor than all of his exes combined. But he's still not ready to try any relationship of his own, considering the stuff that just happened recently at him. That's also why Drake doesn't want to tell him about his real gender, or her real gender, considering all that. He still wasn't sure if he could fully trust the woman before him. They just met each other, so he needed more time. So all he can say is, sorry, but I need some time to think about it, but please, I beg you to set my friend free. He bowed once more. Lady Death's eyes flashed a brief sadness, but she also was a bit glad. If he accepted right away, that would be more weird, considering how he just get over his past fast just like that. That also means he considered her wish seriously and not just randomly agreed with some empty words filled with lies. So she cupped his face and agreed and still put the same smile and says, as you wish, dear, which is a new thing for Issei because his old lovers would force him to say it right away and don't care about his feelings. Then, Lady Death let her hands go from his face and started to tell him the procedure. After telling him that Drake told him that he will be fine, don't worry, see a bit questioning, Issei agreed to start the procedure. See you soon, partner. Ah, see you soon, Issei's replied. So with that said, Lady Death pulled Drake's soul out of the boosted year to tell Issei her plans about training, which he gladly accepts because he needs to get the hang of his new body to become stronger to finish his purpose. She gives him a bunch of options that available once she will train himself by going to different worlds other than his current world, which he finds surprising because he never thought that there would be different worlds or even a universe other than his current one. But Lady Death isn't really surprised, considering the strongest from his world is Great Red, which is the guardian of the dimensional gap, and Lady Death proceeded to tell him that all the wonders of different worlds. He becomes more excited knowing there's even bigger adventure awaits him. He can't wait to experience it himself. There's a universe consisting of pirates, ninjas, gods of destructions, and many more, but Lady Death reminded him not to get ahead of himself because there's a lot of bunch beings that even stronger than Great Red, or even herself out there. So with that revelation, it cooled Issei's excitement a little bit and realized the truth that there's always someone stronger than you, and get to pass that you have to become the strongest himself so he can travel between worlds freely and protect his new loved ones when he get himself, and don't make the same mistake of fake love in true love. Then Lady Death told him about his life and death aura, because it's pretty rare to get it. It doesn't ask him how he got it because she knows he will tell him about his past eventually, but Issei get the general reason why he might achieve the aura, considering he's already died at least 3 times in his lifetime as first from Reinair, second from the Semiramis blood, and the third, forgot the exact name, after he pulled out his evil pieces from his body and got reborn as a dragon. So he's pretty much an anomaly who's able to cheat death 3 times. That might be why he came to Lady Death's domain in the first place, because the system might have thought of him as an either already dead or he became the species of death god like Lady Death herself. Albeit not pure death god like Lady Death, if it's the level Lady Death understanding on the day of death is like level 100, while he still is like level 1. Hades never really fully understand it, hence why he became part skeleton, and you could say he's a false death god, and that is the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5. After some thinking, Issei decided to learn about his life and death aura. For now, with Lady Death, because that's what's bugging him the most for now, since he doesn't want any mishap in case he gone berserk and kill someone he doesn't want to kill accidentally. Lady Death also agree with this, because she doesn't want to see Issei kill anyone near him, just like a certain dark mage she once knew. It's Xerath, in case anybody was wondering. Even though Issei understanding the mastery is low enough to not kill anything at the moment, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So she spends some time teaching Issei about it, and she's surprised because it only took him a week to learn the basic, which is surprising because it's quite difficult to learn, even when Hades spent his whole life trying to understand the basic. That just tells her that her new beloved perception is just that good. From what Drake told her about, he is indeed a genius. Even the word genius doesn't do justice on his talents. He can make new skills just in a short amount of time, even though it's quite a perverted skills mostly, but making new skills has never been easy for anyone. Even God find it hard to kill and make a new skill from scratch. Just a week after he learnt the basic of the aura, he can control it, like an expert, even though not as good as her, but it's still quite good for a beginner. He could gain mana just by absorbing life force around him. It's still a bit low, and she finds out about it and have more life force than the living being she has seen so far considering his young age. That's quite amazing. And now that he's totally focused, unlike his old self who was always being perverted most of the time, it's just his boost in perception even more, and she can tell that sooner or later he will get to where she is now, and during the times where she teach him, their relationship also get a bit closer. Not that close, but still close enough. He used to avoid her every time, and only talks with her when it's during training session. He spent most of his times training his newfound aura, so he mostly inside of his room. But eventually, they talk about small stuff like what's their favorite foods and some general stuff like that. And the way he looks at her now isn't cold and detached like he used to be before. It contains warmth and a bit of trust even, though he doesn't show it much from his expression, but she can tell from his eyes, and she's happy that she can finally start to open out to her. Sadly, she isn't really proficient at the use of weapons, so she's thinking how to solve the problem. And when she's searching for the answer, she remembered about the Queen of the Land of Shadow. She knows if she's searching for the best master of usage of the arts of weapon, then she is the one. So she went to the Land of Shadows and looked for her, and she found her right away. Well, she's the one who found her instead, you could say. "What are you doing here, Lady Death? Don't you know that I like to be left alone?" A woman with a stoic face asked her. "Long time no see, Queen of the Land of the Shadow. I believe you have been well since the last time we met each other. Spare me the pleasantries, and tell me your purpose for here, or be gone, or I shall end you." "Oh, why do you have to be so cold? We both know you can't kill me, even though I can't kill you either, for that matter." "I could try once more if you wish so, and even though I can't kill you, I can still hurt you, and at what cost? The loss of your trusted spirit could belong. Besides, I have no ill will by coming here, so your animosity aside. And as for the reason I came here, I believe that I found a perfect candidate to be your student. Isn't that what you want this entire time, to train a worthy student that can beat you?" "Whew, really now? And if I deem your so-called perfect candidate doesn't fit my requirements? Oh, I believe he will fit your criteria, I can vouch for that. And if by chance he doesn't fit your requirements, then I shall fulfill anything you wish me for. So what do you say?" "Interesting. For you to go so far for this person, that means he's one you have been searching for all this time." "Indeed, he's the one I've been searching for, my true love." "Ha! Well, very well, you've got my interest, but I shall judge by myself if he's worthy or not." "You can do as you see fit," Lady Death replies. "Let's go then." So, back to Lady Death's domain. Back with Issei. When he got out from his room, he's wondering where Lady Death is because usually always waits to greet him right away, which is kind of cute, to be honest. So he looked around the house to see if she's here or not. Just when he's wondering where she could be, there's a sound coming from the entrance. So he walked in to see if it's her. when he arrived at the entrance, he didn't expect to see another woman whose beauty is on par with Lady Death's, looks incompatibly perfect from any angel. The good fitting package under the purple leotard. He could see a fair skin that could put the moon into shame indistinctively. The elegant purple long hair, smooth and gentle as if made from a skillet. Silk, an outworld of gracefulness, the crimson pupils, like they can understand all sufficiency, even soul, the plentiful and sexy stature, but also the noble, cold, proud makings, as if the queen, the making of the pinnacle of woman. Lady Death is a bit jealous when she saw him become a bit absent-minded, but she doesn't mind that much. Even she has to admit the queen beside her is on par with her own beauty. While on the other hand, the newcomer is a bit dazed herself, seeing the boy in front of her. He's indeed the most handsome boy he had ever seen, but what makes her surprise the most is the way he looks at her. There's not a tiny bit of lust in his eyes, only appreciation. That's a surprise, because there's never a man that can resist her beauty like the boy in front of her. That's the enchanting wine-red eyes also surprise her a bit, because she thought he's a vampire at first, but apparently not. She can feel the aura of a dragon from the boy in front of her, and she can feel just from his aura alone. This boy in front of her has a great amount of will, the will to become the strongest, which is to her liking, and he also sees the aura of the king of the faintly. The boy might not realize it yet, but he's already walking on the road to be the king of the kings himself. She doesn't think that she can feel love, because she has never found love worthy of her love, hence why she wants to shape a man to her own liking to the pretense of having a student that can fit her requirements. So that said, student can be worthy of her love, and no one ever knows her true reasons for looking for a perfect student. At least, was what she thought, but unknown to Lady Death knows her secret because she can see the same looks from her eyes, the desires to be loved. A warrior queen from the Celtic, Alter mythology, the queen gatekeeper of the foreign territory, haunted realm called Land of the Shadows. A prodigy of usage of all kinds of weapons, but known best for her spearmanship, possesses a power immense enough to rule the close gate of the Land of Shadows, which is overflowing with countless ghosts. She also acquired the internal arms mastery trait from her combat mastery in combat, which allows her to understand, use, in any of all weapons of the proficiency of her master. Proud and not severing to anyone, a natural-born ruler from birth. Possessing the traits of a monarch, she holds reign as the queen, overflowing with talent. She herself understands more than anyone else that she is different from the mediocre. In the same way, how she can understanding about herself, she is also endowed with the reliable mystic eyes to see through a character, and most traits in particular, whether they are mediocre or not. Having turned halfway into divine spirit at the end of a long time, she can no longer die as a human, neither a beautiful death, nor even a hideous death. She must simply continue to exist, until the time when the world and its outside finally disappear. She has been looking for a perfect candidate her entire life, but she never found one, and that's why she finally enclosed herself and never venture out of her domain any longer, and eventually she's forgotten by most people. Lady Death is one of the few existence that still knows her. Usually for any trespasser that came to her domain, she will kill them straight away, without question asked, because of her boredom and disappointment of never found the candidate she's been looking for. But finally, she realizes the boy in front of her might be the person of her desire. She thought he might be the one who can perfectly fit all the requirements. Therefore, even if Lady Death didn't ask her to teach this boy in front of her, she would have done so regardless, and even taken by force if she needed to. She can shape this boy to fulfill her long-time desires. Then she snapped out of her thoughts and told the boy, nay, the youth in front of her, "Youth, comes with me." Her voice is cold but violent, and at the same time with the arrogance of a queen that makes people who heard her submit before her. That's basically what happened to most people she met so far. They submit to her command, but she expects this youth will be different. "What? And why should I follow you?" Issei asked back in the same cold tone. The youth in front of her doesn't betray her expectations, because if by chance he submit just like that, then he's not worthy of her love. Lady Death also felt the same. And when she talked about once more, LD interfered and told Issei, she's the one who will teach you on weapon and close combat proficiency, and her name is... Before LD could finish, her words of the newcomer cut her off and told her name herself. The name is Scathach. And what is your name, youth? Issei surprised because he remembered he had read about her before and recognized the name of the woman in front of him a long time ago, along with her legends. But because he's already been with Lady Death for a while, he's not too surprised anymore meeting strong beings such as herself, and just replies calmly, "Issei Hyodo, and it's nice to meet you, Queen of the Land of Shadows. Ooh, you know who I am? I have read some books about you." "Is that so? Very well. that you know my purpose, we can skip to the point. I shall shape you into the best warrior there is. Now follow me and call me Shioshu from now on. Don't you dare slack off during training or I will show you the consequences. Scathach turned around, the gesture Issei to follow her once more, but this time Issei goes along with her not before saying, "Thank you." To LD, that makes Lady Death really happy to recognize her effort for him. She responds back with, "You're welcome, dear," with a seductive voice that makes Issei blush a little, but with a smile that not went unnoticed from her, because that's the first smile that she's, after all this time, if not the only small one. But just a small smile is enough to make her heart beat faster. Her face blushed even till her long ear twitched up from the down from a little bit because of her sheer happiness he felt. Scathach, who saw this from the edge of her view, felt a bit of a tinge of jealousy because that smile isn't for her, and she's thinking how to make him smile like that for herself. But she will bid her time to make that happen because she's already waited long enough just to find the man she's been searching for. So she can wait a little bit longer. And that is the end of Chapter 5. Chapter 6. Oh boy, this was a good one. Sometime ahead, the three faction leaders find out about the disappearance of Issei and have read the report of Issei and the ORC girls' situation. Inside the room of Sir Zach's Lucifer, you can find the master of the room sitting down at the bed with hands on his face looking depressed along with his wife Graphia Lucifage, who is standing beside him. The room was in a depressing atmosphere. "I still can't believe my own sister did that all along with the rest of the girls. They cheated on their own future husband and actually forgot what he did for all of them, from the sacrifice of his left arm to his own very life on the line just to protect them. But here they are cheating on him. Not only that, but they also have the gal to brought their new boyfriends to Issei's house. Like they don't even care if they found out. This has to be the biggest joke I've ever heard, and just the thoughts of it makes me so disappointed. Disappointed for the first time against my own beloved sister for what she did, but I also feel disappointed against myself because I don't realize it sooner to prevent this from happening. I thought they were going to be fine on their own. Oh, how I was wrong. It's not your fault, dear. We could have never expected them to do this even in our wildest dreams. So don't blame yourself. If anything, it was our mistake as well for not realizing it, Graphia says. She couldn't help but shed tears herself when she thought about it once more. She feels exactly the same way as Sir Zach, disappointed at both of the girls and herself for not finding it out sooner. I won't even be surprised if he someday come back and wanted to annul their engagement. He could cancel the engagement whenever he want to, but because he has the entire right to do so. If mother and father knew about this, they will be furious, Sir Zach said. He feels sick, just thinking about it once more. Graphia kept silent about his outburst because she knew it all to be true. Graphia, if by chance Issei wanted to kill Rias for what she did, I will still protect her as the duty as her big brother. But if anything happened to me, you can serve Issei instead. Graphia couldn't help become wide-eyed from the word that just when she said something. So Zach continued by saying, "Don't worry, I already know you have some feelings for Issei. The fact that I am a cripple down there, and the fact that I can't fulfill my duty as a husband because of it, always is my biggest regret. And I also know you still blame me for the death of your brother since a long time ago. I know you're holding back because of your sense of responsibility to serve the Lucifer family. And the fact that my father might took you in his concubine, if not for my interference, saying I love you, even though I don't really feel the same way, which we both knew that love of my life is already dead. But it's enough. You have already fulfilled your responsibilities. After all, this is time. Now it's time for you to find your own happiness. Go to Issei when the time comes. You don't have to worry about Rias either, because Issei might not forgive her anymore after this incident. And if my life is the price to protect her one last time, then so be it. Father will still have Milikis as the next successor, and it's time to let him know that Milikis, in fact, is his own child, my little brother, and not our son." Graphia becomes speechless when she heard his speech, but she knows it's true. She still can't blame Sir Zach for the death of his brother, even if it's only a little bit. Because of that, she can't fully come to fully love Sir Zach. They both knew at their marriage, at the pretense to avoid Lord Zedekias, making her as his concubine, and there was never any love involved between them. Sir Zach became a cripple during the Great War a long time ago, and the one he truly loved is already dead during the war. And to avoid the suspicion of any elders, they both made a plan of making Zedekias drunk and made him impregnate one of his concubines and hide the fact that Milikis, in fact, are his own son, not theirs. And the plan works flawlessly, and the only one who knows about it are them both and the concubine itself. But the concubine died when she gave birth to Milicus, and they already erased the midwife memories about this, and they made them think it's their own son. Graphia really does have feelings for the boy who was called Issei Hyodo, ever since the first time they met. His bright and honest personality is what attracts her so. Because every man she's always acted like a gentleman, but the only one to get inside of her pants. But not him. She's sick of with the so-called gentleman and find his personality charming like his outspoken attitude. And after seeing his sacrifices he made for his friends again and again, she became interested with the boy. But because she can tell the boy loves Rias, she stepped back because she not felt worthy of his love, and only someone young like Rias and the rest of them are worthy. So she buried her feelings and focused on her works, but she was happy when Rias and Issei become engaged because that means in the future she will serve him, and that's okay with her as long as she can stay by his side. But tragedy befell him. She really felt sorry and angry for the man she had feelings for, and if she knew this would happen, she would have just confessed her feelings to avoid any form of this happening. Alas, it's too late. The boy she fell for is nowhere to be found. It's like he just disappeared into thin air, though she spent all the time she has just to look for him, but she could never find him, not even a tiny bit of clue. She kept staying awake late at night, just thinking about him, wondering if he's okay, wondering how he's doing right now, and many more. Now that Sir Sex knows her secret, then there will be no need to pretending after all this time, so she responds with a calm word, saying, "I see, and I'm sorry for your loss once again, Lord Sir Sex. And don't worry about Rias. Even though she does something stupid, I will also help protecting her because I think of her as my little sister, as well as after all this time. I will beg Issei if I have to just make him let her go from his incoming wrath that might befell her, but I believe in him. He will recover from all of this and won't blame you for it, and he might just let them go. We both know just how much he's loved them. And I doubt he will kill the woman he once loved in cold blood just like that. They will get their retribution, but that is not for us to decide. And you know that you have been a great husband after all of this time. Thank you for your kind words. It puts me at ease, knowing you feel the same way. Rias, what have you done? Sir Sex finishes. Then the room went quiet once more. Back to Issei. Issei and Scathach arrive at the training ground Lady Death prepared. When they arrived, Issei couldn't help but ask her, "If I might ask, what's the price for the training will you give me?" Issei says, "Oh, that's simple. I want for you to become the best warrior and beat me in battle. Simple, isn't it?" She said all that and just answered it in the most normal thing, like when someone answered what the weather is like. Issei couldn't help but become speechless from her answer, but then he took a deep breath and answered with conviction. "Very well. I shall defeat you. Thank you for training me." He bowed slightly. "Don't thank me yet. You better keep up against my training, or you will be sorry." Even though she says that, she couldn't help but be happy inside that he doesn't hesitate in the slightest, even after knowing the price of her training. And she feels he might have been able to do it soon. Just call it her intuition. And that's great because her intuition never fails her. So they started training. And that is the end of chapter 6. And that is where we're going to stop for now. I think I read either like 4 or 5 chapters. I'm not exactly sure, but that is where we're going to end it for now. So get cliffhanger. I always love doing that. And I'm not sorry. No, I'm just kidding. So once again, I just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in to What If Issei Was Rogue Part 2, and please hit the like button if you're in the premiere right now. I know you are, so hit the damn like button. No, I'm just kidding. But let me know if you guys would like to see a live stream either the 23rd or the 20th. You know what? I mean, I could do it Christmas Eve, but nah, I think that should be a time for other things. I mean, like, I could, though. I was like, let me know if you guys want me to do a live stream on Christmas Eve or the 26th of December, like right after Christmas. You know, just chilling with everybody right after Christmas, and we can all hang out and things like that and tell each other what was going on, like our love situation about how girls do us dirty. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Got on a rant. Nah, I'm fucking around. But, so, yeah. A lot of people keep asking me about what if Issei had Ultra Instinct, and yes, the story is still being continued. I just haven't been able to do anything with it as of now. Now I can finally do something. I can finally continue writing my story, but there was, as you know, a lot of things that were happening during college that made me not so happy. But, I mean, hey, I'm home now, and I can finally forget about all the bullshit that was going on. So, remember, guys, 2023. Now, don't take this quote very lightly, but like, hey, I was like, if you guys want to actually do something and get yourself right, do it. Start now instead of at 2023. Don't wait until 2023. You should have just started already. I know I already have. Let's just put it that way. I'm coming back with some new battle power. No, I'm just kidding. I'm about to go balance breaker, bro. No, I'm joking. I'm about to go Super Saiyan. I'm about to go Ultra. All right, I need to stop. Okay. But thank you guys so much for the support, man. It really means the world to me. Thank you to all my balance breakers and limit breakers once again. But let me know if you guys want me to create merch. And if you want me to create merch, will you even buy it? It will say like Spartanic Arts DXD on it, or just Spartanic DXD, so just let me know if you guys want me to make merch like that. That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that. I just don't know if anybody would buy it, so I'm not gonna make it if nobody's gonna buy it, you know what I mean? But thanks so much for the support. Subscribe to my second channels, Ampopowski and Fallen DXD, down in the description below. And without further ado, Spartanic Arts DXD out.